I'm going to show you a little tutorial on how to get the Foreflight app working with Xplane. So I think this is a brilliant idea. The app itself, it has a subscription, but the version I'm using is free. Highly recommend it. It's got all the information you need for a free app. It's absolutely incredible. And you get the benefit of being able to practice your flights with Xplane on Foreflight before you actually go off and fly. So that's just totally invaluable in my book. I think it's amazing, particularly when you download the realistic scenery with Ortho 4XP or Orbex or something, and then use this Foreflight app. You can really simulate the flights that you're going to do, practice them before you set off. So let's jump into it. Basically, what you're going to need to do is set up the Foreflight app on the same network as your Xplane, so it's going to have to be on your Wi-Fi. Basically, how you do this, it's fairly simple, although I ran into a few difficulties, and I'll explain those difficulties and how I solved them. What you need to do is you need to go to your settings, and under settings there's a network section. You go to that, and I've read on the forums that if you have one of these connected, Xavion or FlyQ, it's not going to work. Luckily, I don't have those connected. I still have problems though, but it should work if you don't have these connected. What you want to go to is the other mapping apps section, and I believe you can tick both of these. If you're having trouble getting to connect, tick both of them. Basically, the first one is broadcast to all mapping apps on the network, so that's just going to force it through to your iPad. If you're using multiple iPads, there could be some conflict, I believe. So if you just push it through to all mapping apps, that will give you the icon that you need. However, I believe you only need to transmit to a single mapping app, and from the tutorials I've seen online, they're all using just a single transmit to a single mapping app. I hope that's clear. Let me show you in Foreflight what you need to do. So if you go to your iPad, you're going to need to know your IP address of your Wi-Fi. If you're on Xplane11.3, it should give you that by default. However, it'll miss a digit off, and this is where I got into trouble. If you need to know your IP address, go to your iPad, click on the settings. Under settings, go to Wi-Fi, and then on the connected Wi-Fi that you're at, there's a little eye icon. You'll click that, and then it says IP address. Your IP address, mine, for example, is 192.168.0.10. And it's that 10 that's important. Because I'm using Xplane version 11.3, in my other mappings app, it already defaulted my IP address, but it didn't default it to that final decimal place. It was 192.168.0.1, and for ages I was having trouble getting the Foreflight app to work. It was connecting, but it wasn't recognizing my position from the sim on the actual map on Foreflight. So if you set yours, you might have to actually go into it and put in the extra digit in yourself. That solved it for me. Basically, then, once you've done that, go into your Foreflight app, click on the More button, and then down on the left-hand side, you'll see Devices. Click Devices, and then, if everything's set up correctly, you should see this box here that says Xplane. Click on that, and then you'll get a toggle, and you'll enable it. Now, once you've enabled it, if you go back to Maps, under the Accuracy section, it's now going to say accuracy brackets Xplane, and you should see on your map your location on Xplane. Another caveat to this, you have to have a flight loaded up. You can't just do it from the menu screen when you first load up the Xplane software. What you need to do is load a flight up so that it actually has a location to transmit, and then it's going to transmit it to the Foreflight app, and everything then should be working absolutely perfectly, and you'll get to use the app as if it was a real flight. It's going to give you the breadcrumbs of your route that you've gone to. It's going to tell you all of your information, like your ground speed, your virtual altitude. It's going to tell you when you're coming down to final approach, And you can do all your planning and use the Foreflight app in Anger to really learn it, whilst being able to do the simulation and pause the simulation, come back to your Foreflight app. So yeah, it's just a brilliant way to learn. It's a brilliant way to learn your flight. It's a brilliant way to learn your app. I hope that's been helpful. I'm Pilot Mike. I'm going to do a Twitch flight now. So if you want to follow me on Twitch, I'll put a link to my Twitch account underneath this video, and you can see me there and you can watch me do the flight. Like I say, I hope that's been helpful. More videos like this coming soon. Subscribe if you like it. Give me a like also if you like it. Until next time, I'm Pilot Mike. Bye.